Okay, I wanted to give a quick update on the RMSmartShape2D node plugin that I have been working on for Godot version 3.1 and above. So, some recent modifications that I have made since my last video has been primarily focusing on cleaning it up to get it ready to distribute to the user. And so part of that has been me going through the shape material that I spoke of earlier, which describes what we render inside these nodes. And so what I've done is a lot of cleanup in the naming that I had. I've also gone ahead and added normal textures for each texture slot. So as you can see, fill texture has a normal that can be applied. All the top texture slots that you create, you can also create corresponding top normal textures. Same goes for left, right, and bottom. I have renamed Adaptive UV to Weld Edges, and I'll just quickly turn on a debug feature that I have within the editor that shows the quads that go around the edge of the object. And so what you can do is you can see that if I don't turn on Weld Edges, you can see that each quad is actually disconnected, and simply welding makes it look a lot better. It's up to you. You want to do it, go ahead. I don't know. I have also renamed what I used to call top margin, bottom, right, left margin to top offset, bottom offset, right, and left. The reason being is that I never really felt that that was a margin. It was just kind of an offset. But it does the same thing. So you adjust it and you can alter where the edge is drawn in relationship to the curve line. And again, that curve line is this white line going around the object. Three new properties that I have added to the material resources: collision width, offset, and extends. For a closed shape object, these properties are ignored. However, they are there for the open-ended objects and the collision once that's been applied. So let me turn off the debug here and show some other items. I have added a new class called RMSmartShape2D. And what that does is you can point that, like the monitor shape that we see here, to an RMSmartShape2D node. And then what you do is you have this track control point, and that control point number represents the control points around what that make up the shape contour. So here, for example, if you look at the toolbar up here, you'll see an IDX colon, and as I roll my mouse over the control points, you'll see that that IDX change. So this is telling me, for example, that this one right here is control point number 3. So if I go back to that Smart Shape anchor, and on this tracking control point I make sure that it says 3, then what I'm able to do is I can assign any other nodes I want to this, and it will be transformed in relationship to the anchor, which is actually transformed in relationship to the control point on the RMShape2D. Sounds a bit difficult or convoluted, but the advantage is that I can do things like this, where I've anchored this sign to this portion of the land, and I can now decide, hey, I'm going to reshape this contour, and that sign follows along. The advantage here is that you can toy around with the idea of, say, hey, let's make the land shake like there's an earthquake going on or something, and these anchored objects will follow that contour. It's kind of neat, and it was definitely a feature that I saw on another tool for one of the other game engines, and it, you know, inspired. So it was just simple enough to do. Another thing is that the toolbar used to have auto update collision. I have removed that and instead have added that as a option now on the RMSmartShape2D node. You can see here that you got in your inspector, you got curve, closed shape, and auto update collider. So now if as I make an update to the contour, you can see that the collider is also being updated. Something else I've done is this is a closed shape. However, I have gone ahead and done open shapes and support collision detection now too. So on this collision vine, I'll turn on the collision detection, and or at least our ability to see it. And what you can do is you go through that material, and you'll see that these three properties that I've added: collision width, offset, and extends. These properties are used by the open-ended shapes. So expanding the collision width, you can see how that reacts. Collision offset. And then if you watch the ends of the curve, you can adjust the collision extends to either expand beyond the extents of the curve, or you can have it contract. So that gives you some control. And again, if you need further control of your collision detection, you turn off your auto update collider, you go to your collision polygon, and you make the edits that you need, just like other tools. But hopefully with those parameters that I have provided, the need to come away from the auto update collider becomes less. This is an example of a Smart Shape where we have caps. That is simply done by going into your material, as you can see here in the inspector, and I'm looking at the top texture, and slot 0 has most of my texture for the pipe, and then slot 1 has my cap. And you'll notice that the cap texture that you see in the inspector is the same orientation that you see in on the canvas, the edit window here. But if I go over to the right, you'll see that the orientation is different. And the way that is done is hovering over the control point and hitting the space bar, and that flips the orientation of the texture. And so if I want to do something silly like put a cap right here, which I don't know, doesn't look great, doesn't look horrible, but anyways, you can do that. And you're simply just changing the index again by hovering over the control point and clicking scrolling your mouse wheel. So as you scroll, it's just scrolling through the available textures. I think that's it. This is this has been a blast. It's I think it's just got a little bit of tweaking left to do. However, it does feel like it's very usable. I did a sample level here where a ball falls onto the screen, and oh no, I messed my contour up. Okay, well, easy fix. Come back to the platform. And we need a little more of a rolling down the hill. We're gonna make that happen. Okay. And put the vine here. Picky. Okay. So as you can see, my collision as it rolled down the grass there, it didn't look good at all. It was off the grass. So that's a simple fix. Go back to the platform, go back to the material, and that is where I was playing with the top offset earlier. So we want that white line of the shape to represent where our collision is on the grass. So that is easiest done just by adjusting that top offset. And so that hopefully will look much better. And let's run it. Cool. Anyways, I hope you enjoy the update. I hope to have the code, the plugin available to everyone within a couple days. Thank you.